apply.
Get ahead for GCSEs and A-levels with Justin Craig. Justin Craig Summer School Centre and online group tuition courses offer students an opportunity to catch up and build confidence for their new academic year. For current years 10 to 12, our summer school courses are an excellent mix of learning and fun. A one-to-one format is also available throughout the year with Justin Craig's private tuition. With over 40 years experience, Justin Craig has helped more than 100,000 students. Visit justinCraig.ac.uk.
Welcome to Love Matcher UK. Enter the details of your perfect partner.
Okay, so, ideal height and build. Bit taller than me. Eyes. Yes, please. Favourite food? Anything else? Being vague rarely gets the best results. So at Zeiss, we're precise. Really precise. Engineering innovative technology into every lens we make. All subtly engraved with our signature hallmark. Zeiss. Precision you can see. Available at Boots Opticians.
Where can our trains take you this summer? Whether it's a much-needed catch-up with friends or a family day out. Our advance tickets are now available throughout summer. To get you there safely, we're cleaning our trains before, during and after your journey. Remember to book ahead for your socially distanced seat via our app or on avantiwestcoast.co.uk. Avanti West Coast, wherever you're going, we're right there with you.
Eddie on LBC.
With Sage. Tackling people accurately, quickly and on time.
Some Conservatives, including MPs, are saying that the party needs to be really careful of this business of booing taking the knee. Steve Baker saying this should serve as a wake-up call. He thought footballers were motivated by a desire to express their solidarity with those who suffer racism. Johnny Mercer agreeing with Tyrone Mings. The painful truth, he said, is that Sky is completely right. I want to hear from you if you are a Conservative supporter, member, voter, where you are with this. 0345 6060 973. In a moment, we'll hear from Siobhan Aarons, who co-founded Conservatives Against Racism for Equality. I just want to add, if I may, and this will take a moment or two, but I hope you'll think it's worth hearing, a lengthy part of an article today by Lord Finkelstein, who is a Conservative member of the House of Lords. He also writes for The Times, and this is part of his column today. I just wanted to read it to you, and please give me your reaction in the usual way. Here's what Danny Finkelstein wrote. The Home Secretary was, of course, right to call taking the knee gesture politics. Of course it is. Lots of things are gesture politics. Appearing on television in front of a flag, for example, or clapping the NHS, or the honours system. The question is what the gesture is meant to represent. Some of my friends on the right seem to have got it into their heads that taking the knee is an endorsement of the programme of a small group of Black Lives Matter activists. That taking the knee is a call for the abolition of capitalism, the advancement of the theories of Marx. How likely is it, do you think, that Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling are hoping to incite spectators to overthrow capitalism just before kick-off? Or that the idea came to the England players after debating the policy ideas on a BLM website? And if you think it plausible that the gesture originates in the dressing room debate about Das Kapital, you could also try asking the England team and listening to the answer. The players have been perfectly clear why they're taking the knee. It is as a protest against the racism they encounter. Let me be personal for a moment. This is the words of Danny Finkelstein in The Times. Let me be personal for a moment. I believe in the capitalist system. I'm a resolute opponent of Marxist ideas. In the name of these ideas, my grandfather was sent to the Gulag and my father nearly died of starvation in Soviet exile. You can take it from me that I wouldn't support any gesture that glorified communism. My family owes so much to this country, and I would never endorse showing it or its history disrespect. Yet at the same time, as a Jew, I have experienced racial abuse, writes Danny Finkelstein. What you crave when it happens is the solidarity of your fellow countrymen for the gestures and statements of resistance that you make. You don't wish that solidarity to be held back from some highfalutin, arcane political reason. It breaks my heart to think that any ally of mine would withhold support from young men being jeered because of their race. For let's be clear, that is what jeering was about. The jeering was racial abuse wearing the clothes of political argument. The jeerers hadn't read the BLM website or studied Das Kapital any more than the players had. In the aftermath of Sunday's defeat, we learned that there was anger in the room and the ugly cultural hatred for being on the side of that isn't any sort of position for a conservative. The moral argument seems to me quite clear, but for those still not convinced, let me also make the political case. Failing to support the stand of the England team before they became national heroes has become a predictable political advance. There will only be one winner and it won't be the politician. There will be some vociferous support for refusing to take the knee, but those people are not the majority and they aren't the future. This country is becoming more armed, more advanced, more liberal. Already polls show that there are more people for taking the knee but not against it, and that will only become more marked. The journey from political error to predictable consequence was a quick one this time for Critical Town. The larger mistake of siding against the coming values of a younger generation may take longer to unfold, but the outcome is just as sure. Once again, I think it's like writing the Times today, and I just wanted to throw that into the debate. And if you are a conservative, I'd love to hear what you think. 0345 6060 973. And as promised, Siobhan Ann, I apologise to you, Siobhan, for keeping you waiting while I rabbited on with Danny Finkelstein's column, but I thought it was interesting. You co-founded Conservatives Against Racism for Equality. What do you want to say to me?
First of all, I'd say good evening. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I can only echo the words of Daniel Finkelstein, of so many others who have spoken out this last day or two, and say thank you to them. When I saw those footballers kneeling before the Motorway protest in their English kit representing one country, I could not have been more proud. Earlier today, I was interviewed and I was asked, have you suffered racism? And I said, of course. And I paused. And I paused because for most of my life, I've just kind of taken it and I haven't really said much. And I've sort of thought I let it wash over me, and actually I hadn't at all. I'd taken it on board and it started consuming me too much. And instead, what you saw beautifully were all of those young men together, kneeling together in solidarity. Some as the expression of what they are experiencing, and others as their brothers in arms together. Kneeling is not new. It has a long history in the Black Rights Movement. You can see, if you go all the way back to the 1780s, there is a drawing of an enslaved man from the 1780s, which became the emblem of the British abolitionist movement. He is there kneeling in his chains, looking up, and it says, "Am I not a man?
anti-racism, they're booing Marxism, and this is just the opposition having a go.
Yeah, and I understand why he thinks that. I understand why the Jack who texts in also thinks this, but this is a trend that we've seen throughout history of labelling movements that they're Marxist or something to sort of evade the question. You know, Martin Luther King was labelled a Marxist when he was leading the civil rights movement in the 60s. It's a trend that's constantly repeating itself. It doesn't really hold water at all. So some people might think that they're doing Marxism, anti-capitalism, these things that tend to be falsely associated with Black Lives Matter, but in reality they're just doing taking the knee because they don't really like the idea.
What do you think the effect of this might be? Do you think it's the wrong thing? I read out what Danny Finkelstein thinks might happen. We've had other views. What about you?
I think unfortunately it will die down eventually. I think that BLM has much more momentum than movements we've seen in the past, and hopefully it will bring about some change and will move politics, make it less populist and move it back into moderate and centre ground. That's what I would hope. But having said that, if the government continues on its path, then we might be seeing a more rise of populism and trying to pander to more socially conservative voters.
Do you think that the leadership, Priti Patel, Boris Johnson, should retract or apologise or find some form of words that helps them move on from where they appear to be?
Yeah, I think that Priti Patel especially should apologise. I don't think that it's helpful for her to have made the comments that she does, or that she has, and then also post things on social media all about supporting England. And you know, it's terrible that the football players have received this racist abuse. I think that there does need to be an apology made. I think that would be the best way to move forward.
James, good to hear from you. Thank you. That's James, Conservative member at the age of 17, saying this isn't quite right, but whatever your view, if you're a Conservative, I want to hear from you. 0345 6060 973. Still to come before 7 o'clock, the latest on the Balearics. Big announcement in the last hour, affecting not just the Balearics, also, of course, COVID 1 year ago. Right now, your COVID report, all the COVID headlines in one place. Here's LBC's Charlotte Lynch.
Eddie, as you say, the Transport Secretary has confirmed in the last hour the Balearic Islands will be moved from the green travel list. The likes of Ibiza, Mallorca and Menorca were only added 2 weeks ago, but now they'll go amber. Grant Shapps has explained why.
Well, unfortunately, when we put them on the green watch list, from them we've seen the rates double, and also the rate of positivity of these tests double, meaning that we're going to need to move quickly, as we said we might always have to do.
Bulgaria and Hong Kong will be added to the green list. The change will come into effect from Monday. However, the rules for double vaccinated people will also be altered on that date. From the 19th of July, people who've had both doses of a coronavirus vaccine will not need to quarantine when they return from an amber list country. The UK has recorded the highest number of new coronavirus infections since mid-January. A further 42,302 cases have been reported in the latest 24-hour period. A further 49 people have died within 28 days of testing positive. Local mayors in England are rebelling against the government, asking people to continue wearing face coverings on public transport. It will no longer be a legal requirement from Monday, but the Tory mayor of the West Midlands, Andy Street, says he expects the public to continue using them on the likes of buses and trains. His Greater Manchester counterpart, Andy Burnham, says face coverings will also remain mandatory on the region's tram network.
Masks protect others in these environments, and one person's choice not to wear one on a bus or a tram could affect the physical and mental health of passengers nearby, particularly those who are clinically extremely vulnerable.
Other metro mayors, like the mayor for West Yorkshire, the Sheffield City region and the North of Tyne mayor, are pushing the government to keep it as a legal requirement. The Transport Secretary has backed Transport for London's decision to continue requiring passengers to wear face coverings. Sadiq Khan says they must be used even after restrictions are eased on Monday.
The evidence we know from the government's own scientific advisors, the evidence from the World Health Organization, is you wearing a face mask makes it less likely that the virus can be passed on. It reduces transmission in an indoor space where you can't keep your distance.
Masks will remain compulsory on public transport in Wales and in most public spaces if the country moves to level 0 of restrictions as planned on the 7th of August. On that day, the legal limits on the number of people that can meet indoors will be removed, but First Minister Mark Drakeford has stressed the country is now seeing the anticipated third wave of infections.
There can be no doubt that we are experiencing the anticipated third wave of this pandemic, with the rate in Wales rising overnight to 145 cases per 100,000 people.
Wales will move fully into alert level 1 from Saturday, which had been paused 4 weeks ago due to the emergence of the Delta variant. From Saturday in Wales, 6 people can meet indoors and events with 1,000 seated spectators can go ahead. 2/3 of UK adults have now had both doses of a coronavirus vaccine. That's the milestone the government wanted to reach before lifting most remaining COVID restrictions in England from Monday. And the Maltese government's amended its travel advice, saying it will now accept vaccinated British tourists regardless of where their doses were manufactured. It follows reports of holidaymakers being turned away because they've been given an AstraZeneca vaccine from a batch made at the Serum Institutes of India.
Charlotte Lynch with the COVID report. Nav says, Eddie, I'm so sick of people like Jack who say taking the knee is associated with Marxism. It's only been associated with